Hi, how are you? Um, my name is Tatenda, but most of my friends call me Tata. And yeah, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you've been here before, thank you for coming again. If this is your first time, might I suggest that you subscribe because it's going to be really interesting up in here. You might hear some baby sounds in the background. That's my baby. I just had a baby 50 days ago. So yeah, you might hear her cooing, bubbling. Yeah, that's the mom life. And there's a big possibility that I might not be able to finish this vlog because she might wake up anytime. But that's not gonna stop me. Hey, I'm gonna try as much as possible. So yeah, that's why this is happening. Also, I don't have time to beat my face or nothing like that. So you're just going to have to get used to my natural face. This is me. I'm in my home. Welcome to my house. So as you have seen from the title of the video, if I do manage to finish the video and upload it because I'm kind of nervous, but from the title, if this video does go out, this is the me explaining how I ended up being a permanent resident in Canada. So as I'm filming this, today is the 24th of June, and according to the plan, like if everything happens according to what we have planned, it is exactly 2 months before we hop on that plane and relocate to Canada. Right now I'm in Addis Ababa. That's where I've been staying. My husband is from Ethiopia. I'm from Zimbabwe. Story for another day. If I do a story time one of these days, it might feature him and we'll be telling you how we met, but I'm spiraling here anyway. So I'm going to be moving, me, my family, me, my husband, and my baby. We're going to be moving to Canada in 2 months as permanent residents. We've never been to Canada, and this is the first time we'll be going to Canada, and we'll be going there as legal permanent residents. I don't know if you've heard before. Disclaimer, I'm not like a legal representative. I'm just going to tell you how that happened. I'm going to tell you all the steps that I did, and if you have any questions after that, I may be able to answer you according to my experience. But other than that, I'm not an agent, I'm not nothing. I'm just somebody who did this process and managed to. So recently, on Wednesday, I got an email from IRCC, that is Immigration, Refugee, and something Canada, the board that deals with immigrants and stuff, that they are ready to issue our visa. And therefore on Thursday we managed to send our passports to a VFS center so that they can be stamped. So if that happens, if everything goes well, then yeah, this video will come out. If it don't, I'll know that my village people have found me. So anyway, let's start from the beginning, how I started this process. And I don't know if I should put the details of how much it was as we go or something. I don't remember some of the figures, but I'm going to try and estimate so that everybody who sees may be aware of how much this process has cost or what it might cost. Okay, let's get into it, bestie. So it first started because I heard of this process from a girl called Tari. Shout out to Tari Mapindani. I'm going to link her YouTube or Instagram or whatever here. So that's how it started. Ooh, that's how it started. That's how I started hearing this process. So this Tari told me of this process that she had done as well. She had moved to Canada as a permanent resident that time, and right now she's a citizen, because in Canada it only takes 3 years. I'm talking too much. So that's how I heard of the process. That was in 2019 around July. Yeah. So after I heard about that process, it seemed like a very rigorous process. So I was like, I don't know. To be honest, the first time I heard of it, it was so tedious. It sounded like it needed a lot. It needed a lot of things to do. She detailed everything that I had to do, which I'm going to detail. And it just sounded like, oh my God, what? That's too much. It was too much. Okay. So anyway, around that time, I was 27, I think. I'd already finished my master's. I finished my master's at 25. My sister was doing her bachelor's. I was content. I was working for an NGO in South Sudan. The pay was iffy. It was a local NGO. Sometimes you get paid, sometimes there are no projects, this and that. But it was much better than what I was getting in Zim anyway. So, boom. I was okay. I was content. I was sure I would grow. My career would grow here in Africa. I wasn't thinking about going out. My sister, on the other hand, wanted to go to Canada to study for her master's. So she was like, after my bachelor's, I need to find a way to get out of Africa and do it. I mean, I'd done it. I'd gone to do my master's in India, so I kind of felt at that point that there was nothing out there I could do with just being. So my sister talked about Canada. I'd heard about Canada before, in that it would be easier if you have a family member who was already in Canada for you to come and do your schooling or for you to do your permanent residence. So I started thinking, I mean, this could be something that could happen. Yeah. So after that, I started thinking seriously about, the process again. It's called express entry. So it's a point-based system that Canada has done to increase immigrants to come, like skilled immigrants to come and work in Canada. I will put the details as Canada, the requirements as Canada would have it, but this is more of story time of what I did. So the first requirement was IELTS. So that's the English, English test. So you can do different English tests. I'm sure there are many ICAs, but I did IELTS because that's the one that is more common. So you have to write general IELTS. General, because if you write the academic one, it is not considered. So I started thinking, okay, let me do this one step at a time. I don't even have other requirements like proof of funds. Like, I don't even know where I'm going to get that. But I was moving by faith. So I said, okay, cool, let me do it. I started preparing in December 2019. I officially started preparing for my IELTS. Started reading. I booked my IELTS in Uganda, because in South Sudan, bombastic side eye. Sorry. In South Sudan, there was no British Council, so I couldn't book my test in South Sudan. So, boom, I booked my test in Uganda. So my test was booked for February 1, 2020. So I started studying while I was at work. I'll take my lunch break to just go over practice tests on YouTube of how to write IELTS, time myself as according to what is it called? do the test exactly how the test would be realistically, right? So that's what I used to do. I practiced the whole of December. I practiced the whole of January. There was time for me to travel to Uganda to take my test. I opted to go by bus because I love a road trip. Also, I was on a budget. So instead of taking a flight from South Sudan to Uganda, I rode a bus. So as many of you would know, South Sudan is the newest country in the world, and it is riddled with conflicts, and it is common for cars to be hijacked while they're moving from one place to the other. So whenever you're moving by bus or by public transport, or you go as a convoy. So it was a whole experience. If I have videos, I'm going to show them as we're moving. But it was a whole experience. There were soldiers convoying us. We went through that. It was public transport. I got to eat street food. There's something about you being in a bus, you feel like you have to eat those foods that are being put through the window. So I did that. It felt like an experience. I loved the experience. I was traveling alone by myself for the first time. It was dangerous. You don't know what could happen, but I was moving by faith. Boom, we got to the Ugandan border. Then I remembered that Zimbabweans do not pay for visa, because we in Uganda, we have this what is it called, an agreement or something. So I got stamped. I went to the nearby town to get my British Council IELTS test. I did that, and I went back to South Sudan. My results came after 14 days, if I'm not mistaken, and I got a CLB 9. So for you to be able to say, okay, I think I am safe, because again, it's a point-based system. So I think maybe I'm going to say how I got those points. Anyway, so that was the point. So I got the point from that. After that, boom, I'm 27 at that point. So as long as you're not you start losing points, or you start decreasing in points after you reach 30. So at that point I'm 27, so I'm still safe. I'm all right. My points stayed the same. After I passed my LTS, it was one step. I felt encouraged. I was like, okay. I passed at the first try, because I know people who have gone 2, 3, 4 times just to write. So this was like, I'm in the right direction. I can go to the next step, which is to have my degrees assessed to Canadian equivalents, so that we can see where it is ranked. So I had a master's and a bachelor's, of course. I did my master's in India and my bachelor's in Zim. So at that time, I asked a friend, because I was not in Zim, I was in South Sudan. So I asked a friend to help me and go and get my uni to send those things. So shout out to Rufaro. Rufaro went, and she had my degrees. She went and applied that my degrees were sent. I'll check all these things if I can get the costs of breakdown, because I want you guys to know how much it was and how long it took, so that you know if it's good for you. Honestly, it was a long, costly, tedious process. I'm not gonna lie, but we're getting there. So if I can get those costs, I'm going to compile them and be putting them in the video. In the meantime, so Rufaro did that for me, and my degrees were sent to World Education Services, which is the board that assesses this. There are many boards, but this is the one that I chose. So I also tried to get my degree, my master's degree, assessed the same way, but guess what? COVID. So things were closed. the uni that I had, the university was closed. Nobody was in the admin to send those things. So it was a whole silence. I tried to send people there in person. I tried to talk to somebody that I knew. I tried to talk to the wife, because we were the first Masters of Public Health class in that uni. So we like the wife of the president of the uni was very fond of us. So I connected with her, and she was like, yeah, she'll help me. Hold on. Ooh, okay. So she tried to help me as well. But like I said, things were really closed. Things were closed. So it took a while. So my first degree credentials were sent in February. My second degree, my master's credentials were only able to be sent in August of 2020. So once I got these two documents, they enabled me to enter the pool. So there's a pool of people who have met these two requirements, IELTS and WES, that is that have these two reports. So since I had these two, I managed to enter the pool on the 1st of September. Well, I entered the pool on the 1st of September. So every 2 weeks, IRCC holds these draws to invite. So all these things that I have said, I have come up to points. That is IELTS, my age, whether I'm married or not, whether I have a job or not, how educated I am. So I had a point of 472 at that time. So they had a draw in the middle of September, which was 472, but I couldn't get it because I just entered the pool, and they had this thing called cutoff date. So their cutoff date was for people who had entered the pool before me. So even if I had 472, I couldn't get it because what? I just entered the pool. So yeah. Then the next draw was on the 30th of September 2020. That one I got, the cutoff point was 471. So since I had 472, I qualified. When you get an invitation to apply, I got that invitation to apply. You get 90 days to submit your application. So they'll send you a list of requirements. They need I'm going to list the list of, I don't remember, but I'm going to list it, and then maybe you can take a screenshot if you're interested in that. So that's what I did. I sent my everything by December 22. The deadline was December 30. So like I said, I was in South Sudan, and South Sudan had limited facilities. It did not have a panel physician, and part of the requirements of that application is that you have your medical exam. So I decided, let me go home to Zim, visit my family, and at the same time get my police clearance, get my medical exam, and other documents that are needed there that I couldn't find in South Sudan. So I did that. In November 2020, I went home, and yeah. So when I started this thing, like I was single as a dollar coin. I did not have a boyfriend. I was so single. Yeah, I mean it. I was single. I was so single. Anyway, I then met my husband, my boyfriend that time. I met him in June, but according to him, we met in April. It's a whole other story. It's a whole another how we met video that I might do. But yeah, we started dating in June. So I was in the middle of my process. So I was doing my thing, yeah. So then I submitted in December. And then in December, after I submitted, I went to visit my boyfriend because we met in South Sudan, but he's from Ethiopia, and we went to Ethiopia for Christmas. Since I had gone home in November, I did not have any Christmas plans, so I decided to go visit him. I'll link that video of me visiting him in this thing, right? So I visited him, and then boom, I submitted my application. They acknowledged they received it. But another thing, sorry, this video is all over, but I need you to understand. So you need police clearance for every country that you've lived for 6 months, like since you were 18. So I tried to get my police clearance from India, but it was during COVID and things were just not moving. So I had to submit my application, tell them I've applied for my PCC of India, but it has not come yet. When it comes, I'll let you know. So I just submitted with that letter and the receipt and stuff like that. So anyway, it took time. Finally, my PCC came after a lot of calling, and at some time I had to tell the consular that you guys are really being unfair. Like, I've come to your embassy, I've called, I've done what, I've paid, and now it's March and you guys have not done anything. I've applied for this thing in November when I went to Zim, but finally it came. So all my things were in place. And then they sent me a letter. This was now 2021. They sent me a letter in May that I need to go and get my biometrics taken so that they can be able to process my background, my security, and stuff like that. So, like I said, South Sudan does not have those facilities. So I was like, okay, let me go do it at my boyfriend's country. So I flew that time and went to Ethiopia to get my biometrics taken. So I got my biometrics taken, and I also saw my boyfriend's mom, just hanged out for a day, and that was that. Boom. Yeah. And then in 2021, to be honest, that was that. Nothing happened, nothing further. They did not call me, they did not what. They were just processing quietly. Another thing that happened in 2021, though, is that my boyfriend decided to marry me. So, yeah, I got married. He went to Zim. I couldn't go because I had COVID. I don't know if I'm going to post this video first or the video of our lobola and stuff like that. If I'm posting the video of our lobola first, then I'm going to link it. So he went and did our lobola, that is our traditional marriage, but I couldn't join him because I had COVID. We traveled from South Sudan to Ethiopia. I was negative. We did 2 days in Ethiopia. Then we're going to go with his family, with his brother and mom and friend, his representative, to Zim. But as I was testing myself to go to Zim, I became positive. Therefore, I couldn't travel, but nothing could stop Regesha. We were ready to get married. So he went on and got us married traditionally. When he came back, we registered our marriage, and boom. So when that happened, I had to inform IRCC because they tell you to inform if there are any changes in your family status. I told them, so I got married, and here's my marriage certificate. I would like to add my spouse to my ongoing application. They said, okay. They answered, and they told me a list of documents that I needed to add for him. I'm going to link it here, just so you know what is what. Okay, so after adding my husband to the application in February, they replied around April, and they asked him to do his medicals. So he went to Addis Ababa. Again, there are no facilities in South Sudan, so he went to Addis Ababa to do his medical exam. So he got they do a physical, they test you for stuff, they take your blood sample, they test different things, but I hear that the thing that they worry about most is TB. So everything else is a go, including HIV and stuff like that. My husband is diabetic and he still got his medical passed. All right. So the rest of the year, 2022, they said nothing. They did not tell us to send anything. They just added him to the application, and it was just waiting game. We did our wedding in July 2022, our wedding reception. We did our traditional marriage in 2021 December. Now 2022 July, we did our wedding reception in Addis Ababa. Our family came from all over the place. It was a really beautiful time. Then we had our honeymoon in October of 2022 in Seychelles. That's also when we discovered that we were going to be having a baby. It was a very beautiful moment as well. And after that, we started thinking about, like, now that we're going to have a baby, what are we going to do in terms of giving birth? What is our birth plan? Because South Sudan lacks the facilities. It's far from our family. We need to be somewhere where we need to be sure that if anything happens, we are safe. So we started thinking, brainstorming. Do we go back to Zimbabwe? Do we go back to South Sudan? Do we, by we, I mean me, because I also am carrying the pregnancy. But like, my husband, I just got in a new job as a head of operations for a big international hotel. I'm not going to be dropping names. But yeah, so of course it was a very, like, blessings were coming from all over the place. But then I needed to think about, because I'm a field worker, I work in South Sudan, and if I'm leaving the job, there's no way I can go for maternity leave of, like, hi sis, there's no way I can go for maternity leave of, like, 3 months and leave my baby and come back. So at that point I started realizing that I think South Sudan is a closing chapter for me. So I started brainstorming, is it better for me to go and do this in Ethiopia, or is it better for me to do this in Zimbabwe? At the end of the day, Ethiopia won, because it's right next to South Sudan. If anything happens, if time for birth, my husband can always come and be with us. After a while, we then started talking and thinking, maybe I would need his support more when we come back, when we're back. Like, I'll be heavily pregnant by the time, because I was projecting that I'll be going back at the end of the year in December, and then that's it. Like, I'll render my resignation and be done with it. And the baby was due in May, so that would be like So we started talking and thinking and whatnot, and then we said, we hoped our PR would come in 2023. So my husband was like, why don't I leave? We leave together and we go to Addis Ababa. We focus on this thing. But it just so happened that I got a job. I got a global position to work for another international organization. And in that place, I will be working from home, so I didn't need to be in the office. I could be at home. I could do my bad things and not feel like I have to be in the office, because going to the office was, especially the first trimester, it was increasingly difficult. I had nausea all the time. So after I got that offer of, like, I can stay and work from home, it was very good for us, because my husband had just offered to leave his job so that he can, support us at home, so we can move together. He didn't want me to be moving to Ethiopia by myself. I'm a pregnant woman. Yeah. So he did that. He sacrificed for us to leave his new fancy job, and we came to Addis Ababa. So after we came here in December, we came here in December. In January, they sent us a letter and said that I needed to do a re-medical because my medicals had expired a long time ago, and he needed to do his biometrics. We're like, okay, things are moving the right direction. Maybe, our sacrifices, our things that we have done have not been for naught. Yeah. So we said, okay. We took that 25 January. I did my medicals. He went and did his biometrics. And then we went for our baby moon in Dubai. Story for another day. After we came back in March, they sent another request. They say that he needed to do his medical because his medical had also expired, and that we needed to send a proof of funds to show that we still have those proof of funds that we had declared that we had before. It's a good thing that we never used that money. It was tempting, guys. I don't want to lie. It was tempting to use it. I applied in 2020. A lot has happened between then. We've had weddings. We've had we've traveled. Life happens. If there was a medical emergency or something, would have used it. But it just so happened that we still had it. So the only thing that had changed is the bank account that I was keeping the money. So I changed to another bank. So I sent them a letter of explanation to say, hey, I still had the money. This is the money. I deposited it on this day, and I would like to. I just changed my bank because there's all these things that happen with banks in Africa all the time. So I've moved to an international bank. A UN bank, so this is the bank that I'm using now. So yeah, that was that. I sent all the requests, some forms, some updated forms that they wanted us to send. We sent everything, and on 1 May, I was just preparing to sleep. I was already in bed with my big belly. I was already, and then as I'm about to switch off my phone, not switch off, like put it on like I sleep on airplane mode. I'm one of those people. When I'm sleeping, I'm sleeping. I hope I'm nobody's emergency contact, because when I'm sleeping, I'm sleeping. So I was about to put my phone on airplane mode when I saw an email from IRCC. They usually send this do not reply email. You have a message waiting in the portal. So there's an online portal where everything happens. I'm like, these people, they want us to send other things again and again and again. From 2020, I'm so tired. Like, for real, if I finish having this baby, I'm going to drag them to court. So there's this thing called a mandamus. So a mandamus is basically you taking IRCC, you taking this Canadian Immigration Department to court and force them to make a decision on your application. So I told myself that night, I'm tired. They keep on sending more requests. Like, I am so done. I am so tired. So I need, as soon as I have my baby, I'm going to take these people to court so that they can make decision. Better they tell me I'm not going or I'm going, because I have other things happening. I need to live my life. I'm scared to invest. I'm scared to buy houses. Not that I have the money, but in case I had the money, I could buy a house and settle here in Africa. I could buy a car and be here. Like, there's so many things. I can invest in other things. It's not just this thing that I'm investing. This was my whole investment. People used to talk like, how are you investing your money? People are buying cows and investing in dairy. They are buying chickens and they're buying properties, they're doing what. I can tell them that my investment is going to Canada. Bruh, the money that I'm linking here, that I'm showing here, you should see it's an investment to me anyway. So I'm investing in my future. Now that I have a family, I've even forgotten that I started this thing for my sister. Yeah. Now that I have a family, this is a family investment that I'm putting in. I could be doing a lot with that money. It's a lot of money. So I was so mad that night. I was like, I'm going to drag them to court so that they can tell me what's what, right? Right. So I said, I'm not going to open this. This thing is giving me blood pressure. I'm pregnant. I'm 9 months pregnant. This is 1 May. I'm due 24 May. So I said, no ways. I'm going to suffer this. This is abuse of pregnant women. These people need to learn, right? So I switched off my phone and I kissed my husband goodnight. I did not even tell him that this is happening. I'm just shouting at them in my mind. But I couldn't sleep. I was like, I need to see what is in there in the letter. At least let me so I woke up. I was even naked. I sleep naked. I tiptoed to come to my laptop. I opened my laptop and then I saw the request letter. I was like, these people are not serious. I am heavily pregnant. They want me to submit my passport and my spouse's passport so that we can travel. I'm 36 weeks pregnant. My doctor is keeping me on 3 days. Every 3 days I'm meeting him because I have high blood pressure. I have this. So where does he want me to go? Where am I going? I woke up my husband. I was screaming. This guy, he was like, what? He was so happy. You'd forget that he was sleeping. He woke up and he took a beer and he started drinking. He said, I'm celebrating. So we were so happy. We talked. One thing that I love about me and my husband is there's nothing that we can, we just sit down and we talk. Nothing ever becomes a very difficult conversation. Everything we talk about is just something we agree on. We never have, when it comes to life decisions, we've never argued about life decisions. We just sit and talk and things flow. And I thank God for that. So we set him and his beer, me and my water, because I'm pregnant. So we congratulated each other and we're like, do we go? Do we submit our passports and go? And then we're like, no. Let us wait. We've already had our birth plan. We already know we'd already told ourselves that we're going to have the baby here. And the baby is already almost here. Barely 2 weeks, 3 weeks maximum, the baby will be here. My mom was going to fly to Addis Ababa and be with me during the birth. And everything was in place. We knew our birth plan, where we were going to have the baby and stuff like that. So we said, let's not do that. Let us wait. Let's have the baby, and then we'll go with the baby afterwards. It's tempting because if we had had the baby there, the baby would be a Canadian citizen, just like that. And who doesn't want that? Anyway, we kept quiet. We did not submit the passport. We said, let's wait for the baby to come. The baby was like, don't worry, I will come now. So exactly 5 days later, she came. On 6 May, she was like, hi guys, I'm here. I had to be induced early because I was continuously having BP problems and my amniotic fluid was low. So she came, and after she came, the dad ran while I'm still recovering from C-section. Before we even got discharged, he ran around and got her birth certificate sorted out. By the time she became 10 days old, we went and had her passport sorted out. Everything was in place. I started communicating to IRCC that, hey, I would like to add another family member. I think they were just like bombastic side eye, criminal offensive side eye. Like this girl, every second she's adding people. What's going on with her? But that's what happens when things delay because of COVID. Life cannot stop because I'm waiting for one thing. Now add my baby to the application. So every week I was sending them. For 4 weeks I sent them, hi, hello, hi, add my baby. Finally, someone told me that there's a number you can call and speak to an agent. I called, I told the agent was like, okay, congratulations, here are the requirements to add your baby. You need to pay this fee, you need to send these documents including birth certificate, passport, and then you need to do her medicals and stuff like that. So boom, all my things were in order already. I knew what was needed, so I had most of the things in place. We did her medicals, and then we sent those documents on Friday, 17th of June. So yeah, that was Friday, if I'm not mistaken. After we sent those documents, we waited. We're like, okay, maybe in 1 month they will see those documents and they will issue another ready for visa email. But you know what happened? After we submitted on Friday, on Wednesday they said, can you send us your passports so that we can stamp them? I was so shocked. I was like, Lord, this is the end of the line, right? Like, this is the end of the line. So now we're just waiting for our passports to come back. We've submitted them. And it's been 84 years in this process. It needs patience. And another thing that I've noticed is that you need to have other things going on in your life. If I did not have all these other things going on in my life, I don't know what I would have done. If I did not have the relationship, the marriage, the baby, the honeymoons, baby moons, and other moons, I would have gone mad. So yeah, that is my story, and I'm excited. This is a new chapter. You ask if my sister still wants to go to Canada. No, she wants to go to the UK now. So yeah, I started this for her, but it ended up being something for me and my family. And I'm hoping this new chapter will bring a lot of happiness to us, and we'll be able to start a new journey. And I'm hoping you'll come along with me, because I'm going to be filming everything from the time we leave to the time we settle, to us looking for apartments, to everything. So come along, bestie. Let's discover this new chapter of mine together. Thank you so much for watching till the end. I love you, and I hope I'll also link how much everything costed in the end. And hasta la vista.